how often should you start testing new ads?
Ooh. Yeah. So what my answer on this one would be, there's been a big shift in successful advertising is creative diversity. So I think that is an important part that you have to take in consideration how often you should test new ads. Now, our belief is it goes into how we do our creative sprints. So we're on a 2-week sprint cycle of making new creatives. Doesn't mean we only test every 2 weeks. That means we make enough ads to survive every 2 weeks of testing. So how often you should test for us, we're making new creative every 2 weeks, but then we're testing new ads weekly. So for us, that methodology is we test new ads weekly, but then we may test variations intra-week, meaning if we high budgets are there and we're spending, let's say, $5,000 a day, by Wednesday, we have learnings to that we can kill the ones that aren't performing, launch new variations inside of those campaigns. So for us, we take the approach of a lot of volume for some accounts and testing. Now, your high average order value, you may test less frequently. So again, the answer, it's 17 is the number, every 17 days, 17 hours. But for us, weekly is we have new ads we are testing, but we're always thinking about creative diversity because, for example, human nature. I log on to Facebook and Instagram. I see an ad from a company. If I see another ad that just looks like it, I've already seen that to myself. I say that to myself. I'm gonna scroll past. But if you see another ad that doesn't look like what I've seen, now I actually have to decipher in my head. Oh, it's this brand. Now it caught my attention again. So we really think about creative diversity as a really big problem and solution of what we're testing is that every week are we also testing creative that is highly diverse and different.
For sure, absolutely. And I think to disambiguate for anyone that might be lumping creative all into under the one banner or iterations into the one banner, diversity does not have to mean every single piece of creative has a different concept. So you can, because that gets exhausting, it's very unsustainable. You can have one concept and multiple different pieces of creative to deliver against that concept. So if we're doing small little iterations or variations we tend to be talking about variations of creative within that same concept or within that same angle. So for example, in the dad bod, the RIP dad bod version, we can then have a bunch of different types of creative to appeal to men with a dad bod that and then position the product accordingly. It's not to say dad bod, mom bod, kid bod, cyborg bod, and then those are iterations of. You can do it that way at a higher level, but then you want the volume sitting underneath each concept. Otherwise, it's again reverting back to people that have that high production value type of thinking. It's like one concept and one master video, and it becomes this Hail Mary thing. That's a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 crew, editor, packaging, color correction, all that. That's that's putting $20,000 worth of eggs into one basket, right?
One thing you mentioned that I think is important to hit on is there's many things that you can do to test, and sometimes it gets exhausting for people. You can just test the copy. You can test just the thumbnail if it's a video. You can test the text in the image. You can test the hook if it's a video. So it gets exhausting thinking about that. One way to think about it is, can I make one good concept, low production, but can I make one good concept? And then can I come up with a high volume way of variations and iterations to then use it? So for example, we published a document of how you can take one ad into 15 ads that are creatively diverse, for example. You can take that and you can make it look like it's on Twitter, right? With the caption and like a Twitter handle. That's a very easy way. You can take it and make it look like it was taken from Reddit. So it looks very different, but also something that people have seen before. And that's a way that you can be diverse. You take it and turn it into a static. So it's probably not as hard as people realize. My advice would be to test, start with what you can do if your ability is low. Images, thumbnails, GIFs, start with what you can do, because there's probably even within that realm a way and a path for you to crack and scale up what you can do.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Back when I used to have my production studio, people would ask me all the time, hey, I want to get started into video marketing. What's the best camera I can buy? Right. And I go, the best camera is the one that you have available to you now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't, because it's a great excuse. Oh, I don't have the camera yet. I don't have the lighting yet. I don't have the sound yet. Like, you got a phone yet? You got a phone yet? That's the best one you got right now to start filming. Yeah, for sure.
That's a great way to put it. Like, start with what you do have and find a way to, like, there's people that go viral every single day with a freaking iPhone. Like, it's not the quality in the camera. It's, do you put the elbow grease in to crack it with what you can do?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Back when I was a practicing Catholic as a young boy, my priest used to always say to me, just because you got great goggles doesn't make you a great swimmer. So don't worry about the goggles. It's you. Fix yourself.